The pensions out of committee yesterday, McCarthy's bill. What's your take on this, and what conversations has he had with you?
Very little. I see it as an attempt to roll back the progress we made, which obviously is a little disappointing. Very disappointing.
Talked with him, and he was saying that most of it is mainly just a sort of constitutional CYA to make sure that if your bill is struck down, that there is something to go forward.
We've always been saying we'd be willing to sit down to clean up. We were pretty clear on the floor in our legislative intent. It does not affect people in retirement who are annuitants, to use the term, so we remain committed to that, but there were some pretty significant changes in some of this, more than just cleanup.
McCarthy's bill would essentially let Preckwinkle and some of these other guys keep what they have gotten now.
Yeah, I mean, he went pretty far. We're not on the program of rolling back the progress we've made. We're not going to do that.
Have you talked to the governor? Any indication as to when he will sign your legislation?
No. And I have said to both the Speaker and the President through their offices, if you want to sit down and do some cleanup and trailer bill, we're open to do that, but we're not on this bandwagon of rolling back benefits as significantly as they seem to want to do over the last 24 hours.
Why the change? Sorry, I don't know what I missed there, but why do you think this sudden change of heart? I mean, there was so much support. What I think doesn't matter. I'm not the elected official.
Well, it certainly begs the question how serious they are to the process of closing down these loopholes and these potential lucrative benefits. I can't get in their heads, but there's certainly been a pattern over the years of calling things unconstitutional in the guise of, or with the goal of, putting in a lesser approach, and we saw that with campaign finance as the most recent example, and that's a shame.
Is it related to campaign contributions or what? I mean, Preckwinkle, for example, is retired, for example, so why do something that would kind of come to his rescue? What would the motive be? Or is it a thank you, or what?
Again, I can't get in their heads, but it certainly, on its face, it looks pretty bad, and it's not something that, again, we're interested in going down that road, but it is not something that I would, it's hard to put any positive spin on it.
When it gets to this tax package, how much faith do you have in, there's a lot of talk about broader approach in the future from everything, just in general, rolling back taxes, the tax committee, the tribunal. How much faith do you have that that will happen?
We really don't have a choice because we're going to get our door knocked on, I think, repeatedly over the next few months and the next year, saying, I've been offered, every other state, or these 10 states have called us, and I think that's very real, and I think there's a concerted effort by other states to come woo our companies, and I don't blame them for a variety of reasons. So I think you got to look at rolling back the corporate tax. I think you need to be real about comp. I think you need to really do pension reform, because CEOs I talk to are very concerned about that. So there may have been a lot of talk out here today, but it better be more than talk. It's something we have to do.
When you worked out this bill, did you guys talk to anybody in the
I haven't. I understand he's been talking to President Cullerton, and I talked to President Cullerton just briefly on a couple minor issues. I think John Bradley's been doing that most of the while.
But do you have any sense where the Republicans in the Senate, how they're going to?
Oh, I think it's a lot of ways very similar to what they voted on a couple weeks ago. I'm assuming it's going to pass, but I'm not about to. I quit trying to figure out what goes on in the Senate.
Why was this more palatable? Explain why breaking it up into two bills.
Well, I think for a lot of our members, it was the cost of EITC, not whether or not they supported EITC, whether we could afford it or not. And you saw it ended up getting a handful of Republican votes. That's fine. It moves on, and we'll work on another issue starting tomorrow. And again, I think, as I said earlier, I think we need to look at this broad-based approach on tax policy and a host of other things. So I'm hopeful that we can start that discussion in the next day or two.